Hello friends and welcome back. For those of you who are new to this channel, I am a lecturer here in the UK teaching on undergraduate courses in biology and chemistry related subjects. My aim for this channel is to help you learn and succeed. I'm hopefully going to do this by creating content that transitions from secondary school, high school to higher education institutes. This will hopefully make your learning journey a lot smoother and also help you to transition into university a lot better. This is video number 6 of a series of videos looking at cells and organization. In this video, we'll be looking at specializations in plant cells. I have already spoken about specializations in animal cells in a previous video. So please feel free to visit the channel and view that video and many other videos on the channel. This is just a list of all the videos that I've posted over the last week on cells on organization. Okay, so at the moment we're on video number 6, which looks at specializations in plant cells. Help me improve the channel by leaving some feedback. Please write some comments in the comment section. If you have some questions afterwards, please post your questions also in the comment section, and consider subscribing so that you are notified when a new video is released. I'm hoping to release around about 2 videos a week. Okay, so specialization in plant cells. Okay, so to help you make sense of this, we need to ask the question, what do plant cells need to do really well to survive? Well, first of all, plant cells don't move. They're in a fixed position, so all the water and minerals and food they need needs to be provided from where they're positioned in. They also tend to lose a lot of water through their leaves through a process called transpiration. So this water loss needs to be replenished. So the first specialism is that they need to have structures and processes that allow the plant to take up lots of water and minerals. Okay, they need to ensure that the speed of movement of water and minerals is also quick. Okay, because they're losing a lot of water, and so they need to take up the right amount of water from the soil very quickly as well. Okay. Moving water is a high energy demanding process. Okay, so they must have structures in place such as mitochondria to allow this to happen. Okay, and finally, they need to make their own food. And once they make that food needs to be transported to parts of the plant where glucose can't be made, where that food can't be made. Okay, so let's look at the first specializations then. So to address this question, they need to take in lots of water and minerals, and they need to ensure that the speed of movement of water and these minerals is quite quick. So then what specializations do they have then for this purpose? Okay, so first of all, the roots are specially adapted, specially designed to increase the surface area. So you see, this is one cell, but it's got this massive extension here, okay? And this basically captures a large amount of, it feels a large amount of soil to absorb as much water as it can. Not just water, but minerals as well. Another adaptation is that if you see over here, the cell wall is quite thick, but along the root itself, it's actually much narrower. So the time it takes, or the ease at which water is allowed to move, is much easier. Okay. Now another adaptation they have is that they have this permanent vacuole. Okay. And this increases the uptake of water by osmosis. And the way it does this, and please refer to a previous video where I talked about vacuoles in plant cells. Vacuoles are great mediators of osmosis by uh, by concentrating minerals and solutes in the vacuole. You allow water to be pulled in from the surrounding soil. Okay, so what the plant does, it concentrates minerals and solutes in the vacuole. It gets concentrated, and water then is pulled up through osmosis. Okay, and then the water from this vacuole is then passed on to the next cell, and then from the next cell to the next cell, so on and so forth. I will talk about osmosis in more detail because it is a very important topic and it needs its own video. To allow for this quick movement of water through osmosis, you need lots and lots of mitochondria to to enable the energy that's required to pump in minerals and solutes into the vacuole to push osmosis faster. Okay, so what you'll find is that the root hair cells are high in mitochondria. Okay, so these are the three specializations as far as the roots are concerned. Okay, the root hair cells, the permanent vacuole, and lots of energy provided by the mitochondria. Okay, so continuing with that theme of transporting water, well, what we saw was the root hair cells pulling in water. Okay, but then that water then has to be transported through other cells of the roots into the stem and eventually into the leaves, okay, to replenish the water that's lost there. To allow this to happen, the plant has special structure within the stems, even within the roots as well, called xylem. Okay, and okay, so if we just follow the flow of water, so it's being pulled from the roots, okay, and eventually it ends up into the xylem. The xylem is basically a hollow tube, and it's made up of cells that were once alive. Okay, so since then they've died off, and what's left behind is the remnants of the cell walls. Okay, and they have a special chemical called lignin. It's a very hard, tough polymer. Okay, and it's very hard to degrade, and this is what's left behind. Okay, so in the end, it's just a hollow tube, and water is basically free to move up into the leaves. Okay, so this is the lignin. These are the edges of the cell walls. Okay, and this structure all by itself is called the xylem. Okay, so the next specialization that plants have is that they need to make their own food. So let's address that then. Okay, now we know that plants produce their food, okay, by production of glucose through the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so it's using inorganic carbon in the form of carbon dioxide and water that's pulled from the roots. Okay, it undergoes a reaction in the chloroplasts. Okay, to produce glucose, and a byproduct of that is oxygen. Okay, so we know the process of photosynthesis. Okay, but what mediates this process are the special organelles, okay, called chloroplasts, which are filled with that green pigment called chlorophyll. Okay, so this reaction happens specifically in the chlorophyll. Okay, this is what captures the light coming from the sun to drive this reaction forward to produce glucose. Okay, so one of the specializations then is that plants have chloroplasts. Okay. Okay, photosynthesis is a very efficient process, but the plant can do things to enhance the efficiency of photosynthesis. So one of the things it can do is position the cells that have chloroplasts as close to the surface of the leaf, which is facing the sun. So when light hits the cells, okay, light doesn't have much to travel. It doesn't have to go deep inside the leaf. If these chloroplasts were more over here, photosynthesis would be less efficient. Okay, so the way the leaf is designed is that the cells with the chloroplasts are in continuous layers close to the surface of the leaf, which is facing the sun. Okay, another important feature of the cells that allow cells to photosynthesize really efficiently is that they have this really large permanent vacuole. And this has got two purposes really. The first of all, it helps keep the leaves rigid through osmosis, so it brings in water and keeps the leaves stretched out so that they get large surface area facing the sun and allowing photosynthesis to happen very efficiently. But another thing the vacuole does, okay, and I've mentioned this in a previous video, is that through its large size, it's able to push the cells containing chloroplasts even further to the surface of the leaf. Okay, just through pressure, it's pushing the actual chloroplasts sort of further to the surface, further onto the surface of the leaf. Okay, so these are three further adaptations, three further specializations with regards to photosynthesis in terms of making their own food. Okay, so they have chloroplasts. They're positioned very tightly to the surface of the leaf, which is facing the sun, and then the large permanent vacuole enhances this pressure or this movement of the cells on towards the surface of the leaf, which is facing the sun. Right then. Okay, so continuing with the theme of food production, once the food is actually produced, once the sugars are produced, okay, they need to be transported to the rest of the plant. There are other parts of the plant which can't produce glucose, such as the roots, and their cells are live, performing really important tasks, and they need the glucose as well. So there must be a way of getting that food, all that glucose that's being produced in the leaves, in the chloroplast, and then shuttling it down to the roots. So in order to facilitate this, plants do have special structures. Okay, that structure is called a phloem. Okay, so a bit similar to a xylem in the sense that a xylem is a hollow tube. A phloem is also somewhat of a hollow tube. It's not quite hollow. There are these sieve-like structures. These are little perforations, and what they really are is it's the remnants of the cell walls. So the cell walls have been destabilized, okay, to create these perforations to allow movement of glucose to and fro. Okay. Okay, so because the cells that make up the phloem are specially adapted to allow movement of glucose up and down the phloem, okay, it's lost many of its characteristics that other plant cells have. Okay, now to help those cells, okay, phloem cells do have associated cells called companion cells. Okay, and these cells are the cells that provide energy to allow the movement of glucose up and down. So it's these companion cells which provide the energy. So there's lots of mitochondria in these companion cells which provide the energy for moving molecules of glucose up and down. Okay, so to quickly summarize the specializations in plant cells. Okay, plants have special cells on their roots which grow hairs to increase surface area to pick up more water and more minerals as efficiently as possible. In their root hairs, they also have vacuoles, okay, which are filled with solutes to drive osmosis to pick up water faster. They have special structures, special hollow tubes called xylem to transport the water from the root hairs up the stem and into the leaves. Okay, they have special structures called chloroplasts, which enable photosynthesis, so the conversion of carbon dioxide and water into glucose, and then phloem to transport the glucose produced in the chloroplast to be delivered to all the cells. And because the phloem need help, they have companion cells to enable this transport of sugar molecules to all the cells around the plant. Okay, wonderful. So we'll stop it there. Okay, just to finish off, it would be helpful to me a lot if you would leave some comments behind. Let me know if I'm going too fast or going too slow, or if I need to adjust something. Leave some questions if you're unsure about some of the things I've just said, and consider subscribing. Okay, and drop a like if you think this video was useful. Okay, wonderful. So until next time, stay safe and goodbye.